Boy, who would have ever thought with these low precious metals prices, American Silver Eagle sales set record third year in a row. Wow, who'd ever thought? Sales of American Silver Eagle set a record today. Sales of the coins are now at 44,666,500, or 44,666,500 as of November 30th, 2015. Sales set records despite U.S. Mint production halts and restrictive allocations to the U.S. Mint's authorized purchasers. The 737,000 American Silver Eagles sold today, which was a few days ago, put the total at 44 million plus, whatever, passing last year's record due to the U.S. Mint's inability to keep up with demand for Silver Eagle coins. Premiums doubled during the month of September, further curbing sales. So the premiums shot way up. I remember covering that story. They went up approximately 50% higher than what, essentially what the coin cost. So, if a coin was $15, it was, we had premiums of like 7 something. I remember doing the videos. So, I've said this for quite a while. It's a double-edged sword. The club wants to knock the prices down to tell you and show you, don't play with that precious metals, such as silver in this case. Don't play with them. We'll crush you. We'll hold your head underwater as long as we have to make sure you know never to mess with this again, because we control it. And we've held the price down for years now, just enough to make you sick and say, you know what, I give up. But the club did not recognize how resilient people can be when they figure something out. They figure out you're rigging the markets. They figure out what you're doing with and I say markets, all markets, not just commodities, but the stock market too, the bond market, everything. There's no such thing as a free market. No such thing. Not even kind of, not even a little bit, just nothing. So they dropped the price. They even a few months ago, they doubled the premiums were like, again, 7 something on a 14 and change, dollar coin. That's absurd. The premium's 50% of the damn price of the coin? So you got to pay the spot price plus 50% just to get one? Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And then they cut allocation a couple times of how many you were allowed to get as a primary dealer. Then they supposedly got some back in stock, and now they've got enough to meet demand, at least for now. And what happens? Record-breaking sales. Just in time for the month of December, Christmas, where the gift of giving is going to take place, and you'll probably see a bunch more Silver Eagle sales. Not to mention the COMEX market, where the deliveries for physical metals are very strong. December historically is a very strong month for physical delivery of gold and silver from the COMEX market, which, as you know, is struggling and is on fumes right now with their silver and gold that they should have in their registered vaults. Going by their own numbers shows that they're on fumes. So the question I have is, that's their numbers that they provide. And their little disclaimer about, the numbers here are believed to be from a reliable source, but may not be. And if they're not, you don't hold us accountable. They got their disclaimer on there since a couple years ago. Makes you wonder, right? Makes you wonder what exactly you guys have and do not have in those vaults. So we're now in the very beginning of the month of December, right? We're still watching Bitcoin. Webbot said to watch Bitcoin again. One final hoorah we should see for the price of Bitcoin, over $400, 408. And should we see that, you could expect shortly thereafter a sizable rise in the price of silver. I was just reading another website. It's one I don't normally read, but the guy had a pretty good article going. And he talked about how the same stuff, same COT data and whatnot, and he's showing all of his charts and all his lines and everything that he, was why he's saying what he's saying. And again, I look at that stuff and say that you can show me a chart, you can show me anything you want, but if the club wants to set a price to some target, they're going to just push the price wherever the hell they want. They have unlimited funds. But again, there are still fundamentals, even though they appear not to be working, they're still there. So there's always that pressure to change the rigged markets and get back to some kind of sanity. Nothing lasts forever. Manipulation can't last forever. Once it's been exposed, it's only a matter of time before they can't do it. And it's been being exposed, all these, especially these few, recent, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years maybe in total. So, they're going to have to stop for one reason or another. And the reason might be, well, they finally ran out of the registered gold and silver in their vaults, and now it's time to pay the piper, as they say. And it might be the Pied Piper on the cover of the Economist magazine. But this article was saying how the price for, he said both gold and silver is ripe, super ripe for a nice rise very soon. And again, it's based off his chart work, but I take that with a grain of salt. It said, for the last 14 years or so, since 2001, 9/11, gold and silver haven't had such a bullish outlook as they do right this very second. So he's thinking very soon we ought to see that big reversal, the price of precious metals, both gold and silver. So as I read this, if I just read that and nothing else in the last few months even, I'd say, well, who exactly is this guy? He's showing charts. I've seen a million charts. What does that mean? When the club can set the price. But when you start to take everything into consideration, and the webbot too, calling for it right around the same time as some of this other data says. I don't mean webbot data, but other data like what this guy's going off of with his chart. So you kind of have to wonder, is this finally it? Are we really truly about to see the metals prices rise? So we have the Eurozone ready and improving, apparently, the attack on Syria. Now, once again, I could have swore Russia was already over there handling business on these ISIS folks. Why do we or the EU need to get involved in that? Russia was doing such a great job. They handle business so fast. We've been dragging our feet left and right. We don't know. A little drone strike today. Sorry about that. Hit some innocent people. Believed to have been one bad guy out of 15. All right, next one up. Another drone strike. Believed to have hit a bad guy. Now, you got these 4 drone operators, right? American drone operators blowing the whistle. They're having us kill innocent people. I can't take it anymore. I've got a conscience. I need to clear my conscience by coming out and exposing this, because I can't keep doing this. 4 of them. What happened to them? Bank accounts frozen. By who? The government. And I wonder how many people, and most of these people I'm going to refer to probably ain't watching my videos anymore, but I wonder how many people in the past would hear me talk like this and say, oh, what the hell's wrong with this guy? He said some other stuff about the finance. I get that, but what the hell is this guy talking about now? You know what, this Jay Snip guy, I'm going to have to write him off. And then they're gone, never to be seen again, right? Subscriber, minus, whatever, see you later. I wonder how many of those said subscribers, or just people in general, who have heard people like me talk and then write us off so quick, are now scratching their heads and saying, yeah, I thought there were some issues here, and, but, man, I think that old guy had a point. And I'm going to sit here and say, no matter how much time went by, I already knew that. I've already known that. That's why I was trying to wake you up in the beginning. Glad to see you finally figured it out, and maybe you came back, or maybe you changed your mind at least, and are now wondering about the mainstream media content and your government's official answers and numbers and things they give you for stuff, statistics, and questioning all that, and really wondering, am I being lied to? Maybe that old conspiracy nut, or many conspiracy nuts, or guys I thought were conspiracy nuts, aren't nuts anymore. And I'm starting to think and ask the same questions like they do. Because I just found out that we brought in 10,000 Syrian refugees. None of them can be vetted. Our president's trying very hard to say they're only 3-year-olds and widows, women. In other words, there's not one single fighting age Middle Eastern man coming in out of those 10,000. Nope, all women and children. And instantly, Chicago, white van riding around, we are ISIS, we are here to kill you. And then they sped off, couldn't catch them. Police couldn't catch them. Right. So even the most hardened former American, patriot, don't talk to me about that. I don't believe in conspiracies. I don't know. Whatever the government says and the news says, that's what I believe. Even the most hardened people who thought like that, or maybe even still do think like that, upon learning that we just brought in 10,000 of these refugees, and supposedly a van's driving around Chicago yelling, we are ISIS, we are here to kill you, and then speeding off, even the most moronic bozo who had those blinders on are probably going to pull them off on that news alone. And that's not me. That's not me saying I heard this from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from another. You've been messing around. No. Mainstream media and government sources said this is what happened. And what else did Chicago do? We became a sanctuary city for these people. Well, that's because the CME group's right down the street. And the CME group is the one that controls those silver prices with their paper contracts, as I keep explaining over and over again. It'd be a shame if some of these unknown refugees came in there and attacked the CME group and whatever, whether they blow it up or just attack it or hack into it, God knows what. It'd be such a shame that we as in America couldn't control the price anymore of those rigged precious metals markets. And then we also wouldn't have to show how much gold and silver did you actually have in those vaults and whatnot. Well, none. And we were about to default on the obligations for the metals being the actual delivered metals, people demanding delivery. And since we're the club, we don't default. We destroy. And we destroy all evidence. You can look no further than Argentina the other day. 4 fires in key government buildings in this past 18 months, the last one being in the finance floor of some government building. Now that the former president, she's gone now. So her remaining cabinet members happen to have a bunch of fires happening all over the place and destroying some pretty important financial documents. Of course, no one can outdo us on 9/11. Building 7, World Trade Center 7, a block away from the Twin Towers, came crashing straight down, just like the Twin Towers, but it wasn't even hit by a plane. You know what the official NIST story was? National Institute for Standards and Technologies? Why that building fell? 24 beams. One of them weakened and collapsed due to fire, again. Not jet fuel. Not jet fuel. Right? Jet fuel caused the other beams to melt, but not this one. This was a regular office fire. But it still caused the one beam to give way out of 24, which means 23 remaining to hold the building up. They all gave way, collapsed straight down. Anybody that believes the official story of 9/11, I urge you to just go and search YouTube for World Trade Center 7 or WTC 7 and watch some of the videos you find. hopefully you'll find one that exposes the fact that a bunch of financial documents, investigation material, were being stored in that building. And on 9/11, 2001, they were destroyed. Which means any and all investigations into the Financial Bankers Club fraud was gone. And what happened in 2008? Which people got the big bailout? The same banker club. Go figure. Anyways, I'm done. Take care.